Welcome back to 13C. Today we're following up on a previous video entitled CZ P10C Reliability Nightmare. This is the CZ P10C from that video. We've got the Dead Air Ghost 45M on here right now. This video is going to drop just before the video on this latest update on this pistol is, so if you haven't checked that out and you want more information on that, go ahead and check that video out. If you want to know all the stuff that we did to this before we sent it back to CZ for repair work, check out that previous video on this, the CZ P10C Reliability Nightmare. I don't use that terminology lightly because right out of the box, before we even put a suppressor on it, it was a jam-o-matic. And this is going to be a really quick 30-second recap, so we're not going to go through the entire process. You can check out that other video if you want to go through and see the whole thing. We had 6 different brands of ammunition, at least 4, maybe 5 different silencers we tested in conjunction with it. Right out of the box, without a silencer on it, it malfunctioned every single round for about the first couple dozen rounds. After a few magazines, it started breaking itself in. Long story short, after 600 rounds, it still wasn't 100% reliable with or without a can. And it never cycled any subsonic ammunition ever. So we wound up sending it back, and the reason why we took so long in that process, we wanted to test every different type of brand ammunition, well, not every different type, but a number of different weights, brands, the whole 9 yards, and the same thing with silencers, because we had a number of users comment, and you can go back from our various social media postings and the posting down below on this video here, depending on which you know, whether it's YouTube, Full 30, Gun Streamer, will depend on how many comments are down below and what you're seeing. But you can see we've had various feedback from people saying their CZ P10C has done fantastic, haven't had any issues. Some said there was a break-in period. Others said they had to send their gun back to CZ for warranty work because it never ran right. So that's why we wanted to cover all these things as exhaustively as we could before sending it back, because there were so many different varied experiences across the spectrum. We wanted to dot every I and cross every T before doing this video. That's why we didn't send it back as soon as it was, you know, basically a lemon out of the box is probably the best way to put it. So anyway, we sent the gun back to CZ, and for everybody who was saying, oh, it's a recoil spring, oh, it's a recoil spring, I will read to you exactly what CZ did. This is their warranty log repair sheet that came back with the gun. And it says that they polished the extractor, polished the chamber, deburred the breech face. As part of the work they did, they also gave it a general cleaning as well. So there you go. They say coming back here that they test fired good unsuppressed with 2 magazines of 115 grain S&B, FMJs, and 147 grain Federal Hydroshock. And they also test fired suppressed with, they don't say what kind of silencer they used on it, but 2 magazines of 115 grain S&B FMJ and 147 grain Federal Hydroshock on here. So there you go for that. So they didn't do anything to the recoil spring on this. Let's talk about the recoil spring really quick. So according to CZ, and before I sent it back to them, I reached out to them just beforehand. They actually just had me, they directed me to go straight to their website and fill out a warranty repair form there. The process is actually really simple. I used, obviously my name was on there, but I did use my personal email address. I didn't use the 13C Gun Reviews email address. So if somebody wasn't paying attention down there, maybe they just sent this back and it would get treated like a normal gun. We all hear from various people that sometimes they can lend a little bit more work to people who are in the industry, so to speak. So I did what I could to mitigate that, how well they were paying attention down there, and if they knew this gun was coming back to me or just to some random customer, who knows. But we'll go through that step by step. So as for the recoil spring, a lot of people said, oh, you need to replace the recoil spring, you need to replace the recoil spring. I would like to point everyone who said you have to replace the recoil spring for this gun to run suppressed to look at what CZ titles this. Suppressor Ready. It's in the title, CZ P10C Suppressor Ready handgun. Why should the consumer replace a spring on a handgun that's billed out and sold as literally suppressor ready? Anyway, there are aftermarket springs out there, so you can tune this guy. Allegedly, I'm not going to drop the money on it. I'm probably going to wind up selling this now that it's back. And as we complete this process, because I have no intention of dealing with this any longer. Not to say that now it isn't actually unsuppressed. It's running, well, let's get into that. We're bouncing all over the place. Sorry, it's my ADHD. So unsuppressed, this thing has been 100% reliable since it came back, which is nice. Now we've only put a couple hundred rounds through it in total, so it's not like our testing has been exhaustive up to this point, but I am limiting this gun to 1,000 rounds. And you know, between the 600 or so we put in it before and what we put in it now, I'm not going to waste any more ammo on it. So it has run 100% unsuppressed since it's come back, which is really nice to see. You know, that they've straightened that out. Suppressed, with full power loads, supersonic full power loads, this thing has run probably 99% since coming back. So kudos to CZ for fixing that big problem right there. The work that they did to it obviously helped tremendously. On the other side of it, it still does not shoot subsonic ammunition out of it. And so when I reached out to CZ, and this bounces back to what I was about to say a minute ago, when I reached out to CZ, they told me that this is not designed to run subsonic ammunition. Suppressor ready handgun that cannot run subsonic ammunition. That's what peeves me off. That's what really gets me, because otherwise the trigger's decent on it. It comes with suppressor height sights with tritium in them already, and I think I told you guys I paid about $425 for this on one of the auction sites, new in the box. So there should be a lot of value here. The fact that it doesn't, and allegedly now I'm going to have to go an aftermarket route if I wanted to actually shoot subsonics in this. And anybody who's shooting a suppressed handgun, especially a dedicated model like this, I'm sure you want to shoot subsonic ammunition through it. I know I do. And with handguns, it's crazy easy to load your own subsonic rounds, or buy them. Either way, they're not that expensive, not compared to some of the other like 300 blackout subsonics are crazy expensive still. You're gonna want to shoot subs, right? So the bizarre thing here is like my Glock 17, Glock 19. I just drop a lone wolf barrel, threaded barrel in it, use all the factory stuff in there. It runs supers and subs just fine. Suppressor ready handgun, it doesn't. And maybe I'm being critical to it a little too critical to it at this point, perhaps. I don't know. It just bums me out, right? So anyway, kudos to CZ. The turnaround time on this, for their warranty work, I think on the website it says 6 to 8 weeks, and this came back in about 5 weeks, maybe 6 weeks. I guess if you take shipping into account, it probably was with them for 4-ish weeks, and it was out of my hands for about 5 weeks. So decent turnaround time on that, nothing crazy on that. It came back looking nice. It does look like internally here they actually did some polishing work. It looks way nicer in here. They smoothed out. It looks like they said, a little bit of the breech face, which is cool. I don't know. At this point, I got a lot of handguns, right? Do I need to stick with something that I got to get another aftermarket spring? I don't know. Maybe I'll change my mind. Maybe I will, because overall it's not. I mean, it's got the potential. It's not a bad gun, other than the problems that I had with it. And it looks like it's going to be hit or miss for the folks out there getting them. We have some people dropping in the comment section here just recently, as this video is dropping out, of people still picking them up, and it's a mixed bag. At the same time, I would say CZ warranty work. If you do have an issue with it, I wouldn't mess around with it. I wouldn't try it. I wouldn't put as many rounds through it as I did. As a consumer, there's no reason why you should have to deal with that. If you're having issues with it, contact CZ, fill out that online warranty form, ship it back to them, let them fix it, let them get it back to you, and if it's like my experience, it'll come back to you running just fine. Again, though, if you want to shoot subs, well, you're probably going to be out of luck unless you pick up an aftermarket spring. Otherwise, I think that pretty much covers it, and we'll go from there. We'll put 5 rounds through it right here, diagonally into the berm over there, and we're shooting those were full power 115 grain FMJs right there through here. Look at that smoke. Anyway, there you go. There's the update. The CZ P10C, almost, but not quite suppressor ready.